Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Oh my gosh, it's always like a bonus Christmas morning when Mike Sando drops his quarterback tiers. I feel like did he do another one like in the spring? Or is this the annual?
I think this is the annual. And I will say the QB tier list, in terms of lists that come out among the four major sports, I think this is my favorite tier list.
Really?
A statement on Purple Daily, which I know we're going to do some statements on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Joe, which I'm very excited for later this afternoon. But QB tier list, I don't know if anything gets me more excited.
It's because he actually insides. Like, most of these lists are just a person's opinion. Sando insides.
Don't kill the messenger. Mike Sando's, he's talking to 50 NFL coaches and executives.
But, I mean, that's why it's so great. That's why it's fantastic. Because he started this in his ESPN.com days. Mm-hmm. and then made the shift. But, yeah, this is some well-researched months of work that Mike Sando has done.
So, couple things here. This is a loaded Monday show after a loaded Sunday show in which Judd Zulgad projected his final 53-man roster before cut day tomorrow. So, if you missed the Sunday episode, be sure to check that out. On this Monday episode here of Purple Daily, what does the league think about Sam Darnold is the theme through Mike Sando's quarterback tiers. We will name 4 Mr. Mankato finalists and put them up for vote, under the radar Vikings training camp and preseason achievers. And then we can get into KOC on the mic for the entire third quarter because there was some interesting stuff from the weekend there too. But in terms of tiers, I think Quick Trip pretty solidly tier in the 1. Top tier of convenience stations, gas stations, Judd.
It's alone. That's right. It's alone. Tier 1 alone. Now, there might be a
Patrick
tier 2.
Mahomes of gas stations.
Exactly right. Because Quick Trip is the place not only that you can stop for convenience, but you can also see right there, if you are watching this on YouTube, that you can stop there for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Get gasoline, get a snack, get pop, look right there, pizzas to throw in the oven. It is a fantastic place to stop. Quick Trip is your one-stop shopping. And, of course, if you don't want to go inside, Quick Trip has you covered because you can get the app on your phone. Order. You're pumping gas. They come out and give you your groceries. What more could you ask for? We appreciate Quick Trip sponsoring this fine program and urge you to make it your official stopping place.
Amen. Also, our guy Ross Brendel tells us that all of the Before I Die merch is currently on sale the next 2 weeks at scorenorth.com/shop, kicking off a new season for the Purple here. So the Before I Die merch on sale at scorenorth.com/shop, tees, crew necks, and hoodies. So let's go through Mike Sando's tiered quarterback rankings here. So here's what he writes. The 2024 quarterback tier results are here, complete with commentary from 50 NFL coaches and executives who were granted anonymity to share candid evaluations. Hey, I won't say your name if you want to rip the absolute. Now, one of these clowns put Justin Fields tier 2. So how unsettling would that be if, now maybe it was Mike Tomlin to like pump some air in Justin Fields' tires or something, but Justin Fields did get a tier 2 vote from someone anonymously.
And this is why when we always say about like sports coaches and executives, hey, these guys are the smartest people in the business. You know, the fans don't know more. That's true sometimes. It's not always true.
And then
there are some buffoons running around.
Bob the buffoon.
More so, I think executives. I think there's more. I think there are definitely coach buffoons, but I think it's tougher because you're like out there all the time and get completely exposed, right? Yeah. I would say there are front offices with complete buffoons.
Or like overthinkers, or put too much.
Buffoon. You can't think
or maybe they can't move off their first round grade from a few years ago, but. So the panel consisted of 7 general managers, 8 head coaches. That's a huge sampling of GMs and head coaches. 12 coordinators, 12 other executives, and 8 assistant coaches, plus 3 involved in the analytical side of coaching. Each voter placed 30 veteran quarterbacks into 5 tiers, from tier 1 all the way to tier 5. Quarterbacks were then ranked based on the average vote Let's just kind of go through this. And ultimately, we're leading toward a referendum on what the league thinks of Sam Darnold. So, number one, well, the first tier, there's 3 quarterbacks. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Joe Burrow. Number 3, Josh Allen. So, tier 1 are quarterbacks that can carry their teams each week. The team wins because of this quarterback. He expertly handles pure passing situations, 3rd and 9. Trailing by 7 with 30 seconds to go. They know you're going to pass, right? He has no real holes in his game. Mahomes, number 1. Joe Burrow, number 2. Josh Allen, number 3. Those are your tier 1 quarterbacks.
Josh Allen, okay. He might get in there, but I'm sorry. Mahomes, Burrow, to me, there's a little gap there. Like I've seen Josh do some pretty dumb things. I'm not saying that at his best he cannot win you a football game, and his athletic ability is unquestionable. I don't know that I would give him a free pass to tier 1. He's very, very good. But like when you're talking about, in my opinion, I mean, Patrick is by himself, I think. But Joe Burrow, healthy, has done some fantastic things. I really like him a lot. I think he's outstanding. I can totally see that. Josh Allen, I'll be curious about. But I mean, we have all seen him definitely make some passes at crucial times where I don't know that well, he can just win the game. I don't know that's consistently true as much as the other 2 guys.
I think it's the it factor with Joe Burrow. It factor as in the unquantifiable, non-statistic thing. Because even like Seth Walder pointed this out on Twitter. Because I stand with Joe Burrow. I think he is the best quarterback not named Patrick Mahomes in the NFL. But you look at QBR ranks since 2020. Joe Burrow, 24th in 2020. Josh Allen, 3rd. 2021, where Joe Burrow and the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, he was 12th, Josh Allen 6th. 2022, Burrow 10th, Allen 2nd. And last year, Joe Burrow 20th, even though he did get hurt, and Allen 3rd. So in the last 4 years, Josh Allen has never been below 6th in QBR. And Joe Burrow has a crazy sample size from everywhere between 24th and 10th, and yet here he is still the number 2 quarterback in the NFL in terms of tiers.
I mean, I would say this, because we could debate Josh Allen's turnovers and he can sabotage a game, and Joe Burrow's had some health issues. If you're one of these 50 coaches or executives, I don't know how you can sleep at night not putting a gigantic gap between Patrick Mahomes and everybody else.
Yeah,
right. Yes.
Like the fact that there are, just like the NFL top 100, where Mahomes was he 4th out of 100?
Yeah.
And on this list, I know that everyone's like ranking quarterbacks and whatever, but it should literally be Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Deep breath, large gap, pause, moment of silence, and then whoever you want to debate at number 2, then we can start having that conversation. Yeah. But there should be a Patrick Mahomes tier and then everybody else, in my opinion.
I can see that. Absolutely.
Okay, tier number 2. So a tier 2 quarterback can carry his team sometimes, but not as consistently. He can handle pure passing situations in doses and or possesses other dimensions that are special enough to elevate him above tier 3. He does have a hole or 2 in his game. So here are the tier 2 quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers is 7, CJ Stroud 8, Dak Prescott 9, Jared Goff 10, Jalen Hurts 11, a lot of tier 2s here. Brock Purdy 12, Kirk Cousins 13, Jordan Love 14. So we have 11 quarterbacks in tier 2, ranging from Lamar Jackson all the way down to old Kirky boy and Jordan Love and aging Aaron Rodgers.
Can you read the description again of tier 2?
Sure. We're looking for quarterbacks who can carry their teams sometimes, but not as consistently as tier 1 quarterbacks. This quarterback can handle pure passing situations in doses and or possesses other dimensions that are special enough to elevate him above tier 3 quarterbacks. Does have a hole or 2 in his game.
I feel like, to your point about Mahomes, Phil, I feel like the definition of tier 2 is too broad. Like, I feel like that's too many people to be in what I would personally, as a football aficionado, consider a tier of quarterbacks.
Yeah, because now half the league is a tier 1 or tier 2 quarterback.
And Sando, you know what? Again, he's great. But I love this. He does a great work. So like, this is not an indictment of Mike. But I don't feel like you can put that many guys in a second tier when the quarterback play now is just so crucial. Like, you're telling me that everyone there is tier 2? I see some tier 2, tier 3, but I think that the definition would have to be refined a bit. So just as a whole, I sort of object to allowing that many guys into a tier that might not be elite, but it's very close to the elite tier.
Well, we're clearly no longer grading on a curve here because to your point, tier 2 is like you're not quite elite, but you're pretty close. You know, there's a couple holes in your game.
You read a bunch of names that I wouldn't consider that should be, if I refined the explanation.
So we're talking about 14 quarterbacks either being elite or pretty close to elite. They can handle pure passing situations. And there's more talent at quarterback now than there's ever been in the history of the league, and so I'll give you that. But okay, tier 3. A tier 3 quarterback is a legitimate starter but needs a heavier run game and or defensive component to win. A lower volume drop back passing offense suits these quarterbacks the best.
Okay.
15, Tua. 16, Trevor Lawrence.
Ooh.
I disagree with that one. I think you're gonna see
him
jump. Interesting that the league thinks that about Trevor Lawrence, though. 17, Kyler Murray. 18, Deshaun Watson. 19, Baker Mayfield. Tied for 20th, Derek Carr and Geno Smith. 22nd, Russell Wilson. So still no sign of Sam Darnold if you're keeping score at home. Those are your tier 3s.
Okay, first of all, 2 things. I'm with you. The Trevor Lawrence hate has to stop. It just has to stop. Like, he got hurt. Jacksonville was going to make the playoffs with him.
Jacksonville was like the 1 seed.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is, and I know that he might not be. I feel like when a guy comes out and we say generational talent, that we put this pressure then where if they are not a generational talent immediately, we crap on them. So that's my first thought. My second thought is Russell Wilson belongs nowhere near tier 3 right now. Like, come on, really?
What are people saying? What are the
Lifetime
anonymous?
Achievement Award, I think, is what's.
Yeah, but let's not, but we're supposed to be, but we're talking to active executives, active coaches. Like again, this list makes more sense if it was Mike who just sat down and did it himself. Like, because he could do that.
Here's one anonymous offensive coordinator on Russell Wilson. To me, he'd be a tier 5 quarterback if he wasn't with Mike Tomlin. Tomlin is a psychologist. He can push the right buttons. However good Russell Wilson can be, Mike Tomlin will figure it out. Interesting.
You know the Family Guy clip where it's making fun of all the Disney sequels and it's Jafar needs glasses and he's doing the eye test number 1, number 2. Saw a clip yesterday and it was that, and it was number 1, number 2, and it was asking Steeler fans which one's better, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. I guess number 1 maybe slightly better than number 2, but they're about the same.
Yeah, it's
rough.
We have not gotten to Justin Fields yet either, which brings us to tier 4. A tier 4 quarterback could be an unproven player, so like not enough information for voters to classify, or a veteran who ideally would not start all 17 games. And there are no tier 5s in the voting, so tier 4 is the last category. And it's number 23, Daniel Jones, number 24, Justin Fields, 25, Gardner Minshew, 26, Anthony Richardson, tied with Will Levis, 28, Bryce Young, 29, Sam Darnold, and we'll get to what they're saying about him.
Okay.
30, Jacoby Brissett. So there is only 30 eligible quarterbacks here who have played, so they're not counting the rookies. And Sam Darnold is second to last, ahead of only Jacoby Brissett. And I'll just so you can get the full scope, here's what evaluators are saying. 1 season with Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco gave Darnold a slight boost with some voters. He commanded 12 votes in tier 3, twice as many as 2022. So basically sitting out a full year with Kyle Shanahan. His stock went up.
Learned something.
Here's an anonymous head coach said he played before he was ready in New York, and then Carolina was a rough deal. He got himself back on course with the 49ers, even though he played like 1 game. That was healthy for him. Another executive, this is the same head coach, says, I don't want to be one of those guys who holds on to his draft grade, but I would not be surprised if he holds off J.J. McCarthy for a while before the injury. Darnold has the ability to play to a second-tier level quarterback. And then an anonymous executive said, sometimes I think he's a tier 3 in the right situation. It wouldn't surprise me if he has a decent year with Kevin O'Connell. I'm teetering between tier 3 and tier 5. I'll go on a limb and say he's a tier 3 this year. So this is another one. A defensive coordinator says, he's been with multiple teams and we're still waiting for the guy. He's just jittery, man.
Yeah, that's perfect. That is such a perfect description. Because the arm talent is there, like the talent. I agree with that. But the jittery comment, that is a perfect synopsis so far of sort of like what I've seen of Sam.
So is that a fair characterization of the Vikings quarterback situation? That right now, if you throw out the rookies that we haven't seen yet, that they have one of the 2 worst starting quarterback situations in the entire league. That's what 50 NFL coaches and executives are saying.
I think it's closer to being right than wrong. And look, like this is a whole thing where as the one executive said, can a year basically playing via osmosis with San Francisco, can that have helped you out? So, but I think right now it's fair. If McCarthy is healthy and we were to debate that, I could see this list being different, but I know they don't take rookies into account regardless. But yes, I think it's fair. I think it's fair because we have no idea. And the snapshot that we've all seen of Darnold thus far is very much a roller coaster ride, lack of consistency, and the jittery comment fits perfectly. I think it's more...
He's jittery, man.
He's jittery, but he is. Like the pressure comes down, and he does things that are... It's like, what are you doing? But he is... I think what we're dealing with here is far more just from a quick time that I've seen him is far more mental than physical.
Let's remove in the tier 4 rankings. Let's remove Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, Bryce Young, just because they're second year guys and they might have higher ceilings than Darnold. Would you take Sam Darnold over Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, or Gardner Minshew? Or maybe a better way to phrase that is Sam Darnold a better quarterback for the Vikings than those 3? And I think I lean yes. Maybe Gardner.
If we put a tweak on that and said if you would, let's say apples to apples, those other 3 guys get the full off season to come in and integrate, I think I take Darnold.
Yeah, I think I would too.
I think I've seen enough from Fields, man.
Yeah,
I don't think Fields is a starting quarterback. I think Darnold could still be a starting quarterback. Fields can run, but I don't know, man. I think it would have flashed by now.
But in all these in the case of Fields and Darnold, we're talking about guys that we don't think got great coaching. And so now if you coach them up right, like that's the thing is, can O'Connell fix them? To answer Declan's question, I would take them all and stick them in a blender and turn the blender on, and whichever one comes out, I'll take. Like I just think it's a blender. Sure. I have no idea. It's funny because now is when there's a certain faction of the fans who loved Kirk will come back and say, now you see, you guys, you see. Now, one, you've got McCarthy. Yeah. You've got McCarthy, which I love. But second of all, this is going to sound crazy. This is a hot take. I would almost, for the future of the franchise, rather be here than with the known of Kirk, but I know how it's going to end.
Well, I think what you just said is how this is what some fans are still having a hard time wrapping their head around. The what are you doing letting go of a known commodity section of the fan base.
The 13th guys, tier 2.
Because Kirk, even coming off an Achilles, the league thinks he's 13, like you said. And there's times we saw it right before the injury, that game against Green Bay, even the game against San Francisco, where Kirk was playing like a top 10 quarterback, somewhere in that 7 or 8 or 9 range, or maybe even higher. Why would you move on from that? And the answer that I will always die on a hill for is Kirk, A, you're not winning a Super Bowl paying Kirk Cousins that much money, so what's the point? And B, he's 35, 36, like the age keeps ticking upward. I'm looking for a 10-year solution here. And if that means taking a step back, Sam Darnold, to take a step forward, J.J. McCarthy, I'm fine with that. Let me ask you guys this question. So I think we all agree that, to the way Declan phrased it, if Darnold plays at his 80th or 85th percentile capabilities, let's say he starts tapping into the tools that people thought they saw 5 years ago within the Kevin O'Connell system, Justin Jefferson, if he plays pretty darn well this year or better, how high can he climb on this list? And like Declan threw out Justin Fields, Gardner Minshew, Daniel Jones. I think we all agree, like, if Darnold plays really well and taps into the weapons and the infrastructure, he could climb above those guys for sure. I'm going to throw some names out one by one, and you tell me if it's conceivable that Sam Darnold could climb above these names a year from now or 6 months from now. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I don't want, yeah.
Not saying he for sure will, but like,
Yes.
if he plays well, right?
Yeah.
Geno Smith.
Yes. I think that shine's wearing off.
I mean, no, Geno Smith was in the same bin 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Get him into a good organization.
Yeah,
some weapons.
I don't see that one. I'll stick with Geno.
I think if the question is, could Sam Darnold surpass Geno Smith on this list? I'm going to say yes. It's conceivable.
Agreed.
Derek Carr.
No.
He's coming. I mean, he's coming
He's
down.
coming
this
down.
list
He's
fast.
coming down.
He's coming down.
And the
but,
Saints are a disaster.
I
yeah.
would say yes.
It's a yes for me.
Yeah.
Like easy yes for me. Sounds like a no.
I'm 2 no so far. One
It's
yes,
a
2
no.
no's.
Wow. I mean, Judd's watched more practice than any of us have. So
Yeah, I can't.
Baker Mayfield,
No.
I'm going to say no.
probably a no. Although I don't know. It's Baker's pretty solidly in that like 15 to 20 range, but with a ceiling.
Yeah. But again, now, just to be very clear here, Phil, you are talking about like when you get to Baker, some false prophets. So like again, now we're back to the Cousins thing. Although I think Kirk at his healthiest is better than Baker probably, but like, do I think anyone that you're talking about could win a Super Bowl like in the playoffs? My answer is no. So like I just want to be clear. I'm saying no, but I'm not saying that I would jump at a different quarterback to say, hey, I think that Baker Mayfield could win a Super Bowl here. I do not.
Yeah, I don't think, like, to be clear, Super Bowl was not part of this equation
Right.
here.
Right. I'm just being very clear here. Like I'm getting options I don't really like, but
I
just
feel like
being-
you threw Super Bowl in there. You're like framing me here.
No.
I think you have done the classic Judd thing, and you have turned Phil's question to your
No.
own. type
No.
of theory.
No. What I'm doing is I want to be clear here because I could see the Cousins people again coming back and saying, hey, well, if you would take Baker Mayfield or Darnold. So it's just a lot of, I see this as a lot of sort of quarterback sewage right now.
Well, yeah, it's quarterback sewage. But a reminder, the quarterback cesspool challenge coming back on Wednesday is Purple
Declan,
Daily
defending
next
champion,
week.
right?
Yes,
Right.
I'm ready.
Very nice, Declan.
Okay, one more hodgepodge of names. Again, the exercise is if Sam Darnold, if you can get what you thought you were going to get 5 years ago and you can tap into something here, conceivably, could he climb above these names?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a few more. Could he climb above any of these other names? Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, I'll say Jordan Love. I mean, last 9 games of last year, that dude's an MVP, but 9-game sample. Aging Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles. Jalen Hurts.
None of them.
I don't see it.
None of them?
None of them.
I don't know.
I think he could pass Deshaun Watson if things keep going south.
Deshaun Watson.
He
Who
might
the
be
hell
broken.
knows when he's going to play and not play now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, there's some rookies that might have a say here. Caleb Williams might jump half these guys too. So we all kind of agree that if he plays well and you revive his career, there's a chance he could crack the top 20. But that's kind of he could go from like 29th to maybe 20th on this list.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing that I like about this, though, about Sam, is to go back to that quote, and it's perfect. He plays jittery. He does it consistently enough where it drives you crazy, but it will sabotage you before you get it in your head that this guy can actually win a Super Bowl or a playoff game, right? I will take the full-time jitters over the bad time jitters, which is Cousins. Like that check down on 4th down is a guy that played really well, consistently led you to comebacks, right? And now you're like, hold on a second here. Hold on a second. It's coming. I could see it now. And then at the moment of truth, the most important moment when he can save your season, he throws well short of the sticks. That's jittery as well.
So
But
you'd rather have a full-on crappy jittery quarterback
yes, 'cause then I know-
than a tease?
with McCarthy on the horizon for 25, absolutely.
I mean, even we
Yes.
just talked about Baker. Like, Baker Mayfield's won 2 playoff games, and even his 2 losses, like, he could have easily won those games. I mean, it was the Mahomes got hurt in that divisional round in 2020 when they had to throw in who was the old quarterback? Was it Chad Henne that scrambled on like 4th and 8 to secure the win?
Yes.
And then last year they were throwing haymakers with Detroit. Like, Baker, as much as, you know, he might have flaws, like, he's risen up in some big time moments and has 10 touchdowns in 4 playoff games and has won a couple games. I'm with Judd there. The teeth clenching check down is just enough of a bad taste to think, no, I cannot bite into that appetizer.
I think you guys are going a little too far saying that you would rather have Sam Darnold over Kirk Cousins in a 1-year sample size, but I get the point. Like, the tease of
and I don't want either one. What I don't want, though, is a tier 2 guy who melts when I need him most. But I think to myself, next year he's going to come back and be like there gets to be a point with those tier 2 guys that don't win, where it's like, okay, they are regular season studs, right? Like, for 17 games, they're studs, and then it's playoff time, and they line up under right guard, and you're like, whoa, what was that? Well, that won't happen again. Well, guess what? It will, just in a different form.
Was that in a playoff? That was against the Niners in the playoffs.
The Niners in the second round of the playoffs, he lined up and and the running back had no. I went back and watched it.
It was on Twitter. It was on Twitter this weekend. Yeah.
Madison literally takes Kirk's hips and throws him under center.
Yeah, it was a rough look. So yeah, let us know how high do you think in the YouTube comment section. How high do you think Sam Darnold, if they tap into his talent and he gets to drive a nice souped-up car here, how high could he climb on this list? Let us know. I think it's time for us to pick some finalists in the Mr. Mankato category here, which we will do in just a moment. Speaking of Vikings, you can hang out with actual Vikings at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival, which is open weekends through September 29th, plus Labor Day, so an extra day this weekend. You can throw axes, wield swords, watch live armored combat jousting.
Football.
The food, too. Tasty turkey legs, Nordic meatballs, pork belly, burnt ends. Bring your family, too. Over 50 games, rides, and attractions. Tons of things for kids to do. A petting zoo. Discounted tickets at renaissancefest.com. Renaissancefest.com. We're also giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the Renaissance Festival on the Score North app. There's a listener awards section in the Score North app. It's free to download the app, and you might be able to win a 4-pack of tickets to said Renaissance Festival. Hello to a Nicolay Law as well, the exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily. Nicolay Law knows that when you or a loved one gets hurt, ordinary life can come to a stop. That's where Russell Nicolay and his team, locally based team, by the way, that are proud to live and serve in the Twin Cities. They're just normal, everyday folks who happen to have law degrees that help make sure you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay. You can start your path to winning at nicolaylaw.com or give them a call. Like I said, 1-855-NICOLAY. All right, boys, let's do it here. Let's get the committee together and let's pick 4 finalists to be voted on Twitter later today and tomorrow for the Mr. Mankato competition. So if you haven't really dabbled with us, or maybe you're just discovering the show, back in the old days, 1500 ESPN radio show, Mackie and Judd, we came up with an idea to highlight under-the-radar achievers and performers at training camp. There's always that guy that 5th-round pick or that undrafted player that flashes at camp, and everyone's got their eye on him. Like, who is that one guy, Audi Cole, who had like 2 fumble recovery touchdowns in a preseason game one
time? The Bills, yeah. And who was the guy? There was always receivers, it seemed.
Jason Carter.
Yeah, was there a Jaylon Johnson or something like that?
Jaleel?
Jayron Johnson?
Because he and Carter both, like, in I think 2 different camps, started to flash. It's like, man, that guy, he's not going to make it, but that was fun.
Yeah. So we've kind of defined it over the years as 3rd-round pick or later, or non-established NFL player. And to put some parameters on that, we said to be non-established, you have to have never played more than 100 snaps in a season, and then 3 years of NFL experience or less. So if you've kind of like dabbled, you've played a game or 2 here and there, it doesn't add up to 100 snaps in a single season, then you still qualify for Mr. Mankato. So the last time we did power rankings, Jalen Naylor was the clear favorite after watching a month's worth of practices preseason. Tristan Jackson, Bo Richter, Levi Drake Rodriguez, these are other names to be considered for finalists.
Yep.
Will Reichard, Gabriel Murphy early on, the UDFA edge rusher. Yep. Dwight McLaughlin has shown some flashes. The rosters that we picked, so Team Jub was Jalen Naylor, Tristan Jackson, Thayer Thomas, 3 wide receivers, and then Jaquelin Roy. Declan was Andre Carter II, Will Reichard, Jeshaun Jones, and then Dwight McLaughlin. And then Team Mackey was Gabriel Murphy, Lucky Jackson, Jay Ward, and Nick Muse. We got to pick 4 finalists here, gentlemen, so we can let the people put their vote on this thing. Let's hash it out.
All right. Naylor and Tristan Jackson, I think, are shoo-ins.
I think I agree. I'm not going to fight you on those.
Here's my question. The third name that I wrote down immediately as you went through the list was the 7th round pick, Levi Drake Rodriguez, who I thought, motor this. He's not going to be that. Those motors, that's a cliche. Well, dude's the motor. So those are the 3 names I immediately wrote down.
Will Reichard, and I think Reichard and McLaughlin both have cases here, but Reichard didn't really have much of a competition, so he kind of was handed a job. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't he's looked great.
You have to climb
it's
over
been
the depth
phenomenal.
chart. That's a good point.
What about also Taki? Is it Taki Tamina, the defensive tackle? Did I get that right? Okay. He had the highest PFF grade of all defensive tackles among rookies in preseason games this year.
Yeah. He played well in the games.
You know, he played well in games.
It's Taki Taimani, by the way.
Taimani. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I think that is part of it. I think McLaughlin going from a UDFA to getting runs with
4th.
the 1.
Yeah.
McLaughlin would be your 4th?
Yeah, he climbed because he got practice first team reps at times. Like to me, what you did in practice is incredibly important. Like that Gant dude flashed in games as well, but Taki and Gant, I don't remember really standing out in practices.
Yeah,
Phil, I don't know in the 4 or 5 that you attended if you saw differently, but I
agree on McLaughlin flashing in practice, 100%.
Right, and Drake Rodriguez flashed in practice for sure, and Tristan Jackson. So I'm trying to go with guys that flashed in games and in practices, and that were moved up the depth chart as well in practice. Because like you could see that. In fact, Phil, your guy, Gabe Murphy, was ascending the depth chart. Like he might be the guy to win it if he had stayed healthy, but we haven't seen him in 2.5 weeks.
That's why I do have to throw some love to my other guy, Bo Richter, because he had some major flashes. In fact, among all the Vikings defensive players, he was 2nd in pressures in the preseason games and also showed flashes in the 11-on-11 team. Now, Andre Carter led all Vikings with 9 pressures in the preseason. They had him out there for 100 snaps over 3 games.
Yeah.
Had a couple of sacks in that last one. Yep. But I think if you include all of the practice time, Bo Richter and Gabriel Murphy would probably be ahead of Andre Carter II.
Yep.
Is that fair to say?
Yes. I don't think Carter in practice, I don't remember flashing much. So Bo Richter, McLaughlin are probably my best kick candidates for the 4th guy.
What about Jaron Hall?
No, he didn't get enough reps in practice. It's a game. It's Slaughter syndrome. Can't do that one.
Okay.
Can't do Jaron Hall. Like Kyle in practices, he got some reps and balled out. Or I'm sorry, balled out in games, and then in practice did nothing. So yeah, Jaron Hall. If we were to do the Mr. Mankato on preseason games alone, Hall probably wins it.
Yeah,
but I can't do it.
Okay, I'm gonna throw some other names out just for discussion's sake here, just to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
What about Walter Rouse or Michael Juergens? It's hard for offensive linemen to flash, but Walter, those are guys that might wind up making the team. I mean, Juergens was a 2nd-team center for chunks of training camp.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough because they did ascend the depth chart, but as far as like seeing actual, and did Juergens ascend the depth chart based on what he did alone, or because Feeney got banged up? Rouse is a good case. Like it feels like Rouse,
it's tough.
And he got used to tackle and guard, which for a rookie player shows versatility and is pretty impressive. But it's so tough. Like I can't. That's the one spot that I can't sit here and say, "Oh, you should have seen what I saw in practice." You know, it just.
Yeah. Okay. So if unless somebody wants to fight here, it looks like we're tracking for the 4 finalists, and all we do is put up the finalists, and then
Get out of the way.
And then the audience and Vikings fans can vote here. Trying to find a way for. I should have picked Levi Drake Rodriguez. I regretted it from the minute he went undrafted. Our rosters are mostly just from an ego standpoint, wanting bragging rights on the show, but it will mean that I do not have a finalist. So Jalen Naylor, Tristan Jackson, Levi Drake Rodriguez, Dwight McLaughlin as the 4 finalists, which means we're snubbing Will Reichert,
Yeah, and
who made a 57-yard field goal and won that kicking competition after 1 week of training camp.
He had 2 off days in all of camp. That's pretty damn good.
Can we live with him not being on this list?
Can we live with McLaughlin or not?
Yeah.
And if we try to force them both on, who comes off?
I just look at and
This is a great debate. I can't believe we can
I
do
look
this
at it
with
more
a
as
roster.
like a competition. And yes, I
I hear
mean,
ya.
Will Reichert basically forced them to cut John Parker Romo because he looked that good, but kicking is one job. Can you kick the damn ball through the uprights? And Dwight McLaughlin is trying to fight for other guys of a position group that is very weak and literally went from undrafted to getting run with the ones on the first practice.
But Declan, when your right leg is a freaking howitzer and you have to walk around with that, I mean, the man has a howitzer for a right leg.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, no matter what, because if you were to swap out Tristan Jackson, you're swapping out the most productive receiver in the preseason games, and a guy that went from outside looking in to making the team. Jalen Naylor. Yeah. Some people are saying Jalen Naylor is not eligible, but based on our parameters, he is. I mean, if you wanted, we could make an executive decision and bump Jalen Naylor from eligibility. He's been eligible the entire month, but we have received some pushback from people.
But can we do that now? It feels like we should have had the
I don't know if we can do that.
Stones to bump him to like say, you know what, we're not going to include him. Can we bump him now?
But if this is a community exercise, and if people feel like
feels like that
we stretch the parameters too much by allowing now Naylor was a 6th-round pick.
Yeah,
he has only 2 years of experience.
He was hurt last year. I think he's eligible. Like I would vote no to bump him now.
He's only played 62 snaps in 2022 and 24 last year. He was like barely played.
I think he's eligible.
So
I think I could sleep tonight if I bumped him.
So we're just gonna have to live with Will Reichert not being a finalist.
You know, Dex makes a good case though. Like Dwight McLaughlin.
I picked him. I picked him, and I could have a very good case to keep him on this list, and I could have 2 guys maybe in Dwight McLaughlin.
But McLaughlin deserves it more.
But
I'm with you.
Okay. So there it is. I think the song still works. Let me see if I have this one more time for old time's sake.
Yep. Adam Thielen.
Oh, there he is, Mr. Mankato.
What a battle.
There he is, your training camp hero.
Yeah.
The dreams of a dozen men who were late-round draft picks, playing well in full team practice. Oh, he may turn out to be cut before the 53 or there.
So we'll put those names up. I'll send it out from just my account.
Okay.
And then we can retweet it from Score North and Judd and Dex, you guys. So Jalen Naylor, Tristan Jackson, Levi Drake Rodriguez, and Dwight McLaughlin. Do we think all 4 of those guys make the 53? Yesterday you had them all, I believe, on your.
I did, yeah.
On your 53.
I think they do.
Yeah.
I think they do. And here's the intriguing thing. I think about 2.5 weeks into camp, it was because he was eligible. Naylor by a mile, right? Like we were all talking about. It's going to be close, I think, now. I mean, Tristan Jackson, phenomenal camp. Phenomenal in games, too, which is going to help his cause because that's what people saw. Levi Drake Rodriguez all over the field in practice and games. And McLaughlin had that pick and gloriously was caught by the Browns quarterback at like the 5. But so, I mean, these guys all played really well, I think, in practice and games.
Yep. So, yeah, let us know again, YouTube comment section. If you vehemently disagree, hit us up. But we'll put the voting out on Twitter.
We will get more. How could Naylor be eligible? But your stats are right.
He's barely played. And if we limit it to guys who've never stepped foot on an NFL field, then it's like, I don't know. There's got to be some leeway for someone that has played a little bit. But it's like being a rookie in Major League Baseball, right? You come up for 5 plate appearances.
You know what's really intriguing about this entire thing now, and Phil, I don't think we've ever had this before. The Vikings have found guys, right? UDFAs, late round draft picks who have clicked, and enough of their early round picks haven't clicked that we're actually like, this is probably the strongest group of finalists that we've ever had as a whole.
Yeah, because we're snubbing Bo Richter, Gabriel Murphy, these guys who could wind up being 53-man roster edge rushers that were getting runs with the first team defense, especially Gabe Murphy.
But if Booth is not a second round bust, McLaughlin probably doesn't get the opportunity to shine.
Yeah. Yep, we'll see if Booth winds up making that Cowboys 53. Probably not after getting torched a small handful of times.
He just ran by me. The guy's still going.
Bad, man.
It's unbelievable.
Somebody get that dude a roadmap. Okay, let's do a few minutes on KOC being mic'd up for the entire third quarter here. Maybe you were watching that on a Roku TV, America's #1 TV streaming platform. Roku offers streaming players and a new lineup of smart TVs made by Roku and access to all your favorite free and premium TV, live news, and sports. Go to Roku.com and learn more or shop at a retailer near you. Big Roku. In fact, I feel like I discovered whatever the original iteration of like the Roku.
Yeah, I have one.
You'd plug it in with an HDMI. You have like an old school one?
Not an old school one, but I have a current one that I love. Yeah, it's great. Hang in the bedroom.
But they make TVs, as we're talking about, including the 4K Pro Series TV, which automatically adjusts your shows and sporting events with Smart Picture Max. And we're giving away a 75-inch Roku Pro Series 4K TV on the Score North app right now. It's nearly an $1,800 value. We're giving one away just in time for football season inside the Score North app under listener rewards. Better TV for everyone with Roku. So what was your favorite thing about Kevin O'Connell mic'd up for the entire third quarter of that last preseason game?
Oh, it's phenomenal. Phenomenal. And kudos, because, Jefferson mic'd up is cool. Harrison Smith is fine, right? But for a head coach to agree to that, my favorite big picture takeaway was how a guy could control a discussion while also coaching a game, talking to refs, and at times multitasking on who he was listening to and or talking to on the headphones, for instance. And my favorite moment, small picture in terms of this, is when there was the close call on a first down and PA's like, he didn't get it.
Well, Kevin asks, did we get it?
And he's not talking to Paul.
He brought the mic down on the offensive coordinator part of the headset to ask his coaching staff, but Paul thought he was talking to the broadcaster.
He was talking to him, and so did I at first, because it's like it was so quick, and he was talking, and
nope, his knee was down.
Paul's like, no, and the guy in the booth who does the review stuff immediately, which I found to be fascinating, because he said that before I think he saw a replay. He said, no, he got it. Just the whole, I mean, beyond the commentary, which I loved, and all of that, just the whole like glimpse into a game in which Kevin O'Connell, by the way, was not calling plays, but just that, like, we don't get that. It was so interesting. And O'Connell is, as I've said, a great public speaker. He's fantastic. And just his command of like the microphone and stuff, it's special. Like it's not most of us do not have that.
I don't know if I hope people understand how hard it is to multitask at the level he was in that third quarter, because he had the broadcast earpiece in, and then on the other ear he had one headphone flap over the ear for the coach's communication.
Yep.
And he had the broadcast mic clipped onto his shirt, lapel mic, and then he had the microphone, part of the headset to talk to coaches if he wanted to. And then there's like a button on his hip that if you want to open up your mic, you have to like hit the mic button or whatever.
Yep.
So he's thinking, okay, he's talking to 3 different groups of people for the entire third quarter. The broadcast / fans, in which he has to run everything through that filter.
Right.
But then, no, it's 4 groups. Then he's talking to coaches on the headset, players at times, and he wasn't super engaging with players because he was kind of standing off to the side, and the refs.
Yep.
And he's trying to compartmentalize, okay, hey guys, I need a second, and that meant please turn my mic off because I'm going to berate this official for, whatever it may be. It was just fascinating to watch him multitask at that level, and I think it's a glimpse into how smart he is in terms of compartmentalizing and the way that he can talk to different groups. Him calling out some of the plays before they happen to. I think what you guys are going to see here is a little screen pass out to the right. I love that little glimpse behind the curtain too. That was great.
And my only objection to the entire thing was you actually could have just had Paul talking and him talking, and no offense to Bursich and Ben, but like their questions got in the way because like Kevin knew exactly what he was going to talk about. He was telling you, I think we're going to do this. He was at times being witty, which is another factor of this entire thing, because it's like I would be freaking out, right? Because it's 18 things going on at once. But you didn't need the questions because he had and it's interesting, he had a very trained thoughts about what he was going to tell you. So my only objection was they didn't tell the sideline guy and the color guy to take a break, because O'Connell could have carried that thing by himself, and like I learned stuff.
Yeah, I would have also maybe tried to cut the number of commercials. That's
a good point.
It's a freaking preseason game, so if you need to spread some spots around other quarters, if you literally need to like duck away for an extra break so that we can be there live, because they were talking to KOC during the breaks. And for KOC, there didn't need to be a commercial break. He's out there on a headset talking the whole time. So, but like he's just the more you get access to him, either at like if you're Judd Zulgad and you're doing the press conferences, or when KOC does fan access interviews, or you watch him behind the scenes on Netflix Receiver or third quarter broadcast, he's such a smart, savvy coach and personality. His emotional intelligence and just the way that he's not reactionary, he's thoughtful, he can connect with people. I think he's got a lot of the DNA you need in a really hard era to be a professional football head coach, where shelf lives are short, players are much more sensitive, there's a lot more hyper-focused media and fan attention, and he just seems to have a great, calming demeanor. He's player-friendly, but not afraid to rip into players and rip into officials and coaches as it makes sense too. I'm just impressed every time I see a glimpse of him in that light.
He's 39 right now. And because the money structure has changed so much, I would not be surprised. He's going to have the same opportunity. And Saturday didn't seal it, but it certainly didn't hurt it. He's going to have the same opportunity that McVay had. If O'Connell decides this is a lot, I got young kids, I'd like to lessen the stress, networks are going to come after him. And that thing is now, the difference is these are $1 billion TV deals now. So like, and I'm not saying, I don't think he would leave.
Are you
coaching.
shoving him out of coaching right now?
I'm saying there's going to be $1 million offers if he ever says, like when McVay said, I just had a kid, young family, I'm debating this. And it's a great way to get more cash from your team. But the point is, like, can you imagine that guy, if you plot Kevin O'Connell in a booth right now, can you imagine? Like, it would be phenomenal. I don't think he'll do it. I'm just saying he'll have the opportunity.
But he's not a household. McVay is a household name. Right. Kevin O'Connell is largely anonymous among like national NFL fans right now.
For now.
For him to get a deal, because what does he make now as the Vikings head coach? Probably a few $1 million.
At least, yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6 million, whatever it is.
Yeah.
McVay was being offered reportedly like $20 million a year to jump to Fox. KOC would not get anywhere near that now, but if they were to like win a Super Bowl at some point,
yes.
But I think he seems like he's got a nice balance on life and coaching, and
it's tough in coaching. But I'm just saying I don't think he does it. But I think he would be phenomenal. And what he did on Saturday, in my opinion, was like, I knew he was good. He's better than I thought.
I mean, he did sideline reporting for San Diego State in 2012. Yeah, he was the sideline reporter.
That was mentioned.
He didn't seem to think that was fun. He didn't even stop.
But he has experience working with the radio team. He worked for them, KOGO Radio 660 in San Diego in 2012. I looked this up. Radio. I confirmed it. Yeah,
I think he did some Fox as well. I think he did some game analysis on college games at some point too. I will say this absolutely 100% to me now. If Hard Knocks Training Camp Edition, so none of these knockoffs, if Hard Knocks Training Camp Edition is not a TCO next summer, you're idiots out there, Hard Knocks people.
And if you make the playoffs, you don't have to, but they're likely to not make the playoffs.
No, they changed the rules.
Okay.
It used to be if you made the playoffs in the last 2 years, you could say no. I looked this up. I think every rule that used to apply has been changed. The Vikings have no outs.
So they could just force it on you.
And they could complain and be like, we don't want to, and then they might go to a different team. But let's go through this, okay? Hard Knocks Training Camp too, because now they do divisions as well, blah, blah, blah. But you've got O'Connell, who's riveting. Like, he's very, as far as a coach goes, and as far as you've got J.J. McCarthy coming back.
Also
off
riveting.
The knee, riveting, and a personality. So your two most important people on the entire show, riveting characters. You've got a team that has Justin Jefferson. You've got a team that has, enough star power easily. You've got Brian Flores, who's a lightning rod now as your DC. You tell me how a team, this show started in 2001, has never been on it, which it shocks me. Now there were outs through the years, but there have been times where they have been eligible and were not picked. How do you avoid them? And I know that they did the Bears this year. It's a division opponent. I don't care about that. How do you avoid it for 2025?
It would be, I mean, there's a bunch of other teams that would also be interesting, and we're biased here, obviously, but I agree. If you're looking for, since 2001 when that show came out, if you ranked franchises over these 24 years of how interesting is the franchise, not how good are they or Super Bowls, but how interesting are they?
Storyline, yep.
It's a top 5 most interesting franchise, I feel like, over the majority of those 23 years. So
Yes. With a coach who might not want to do it, but once he did, would be outstanding.
Yeah. I don't know how many coaches actually want to do it. And if you're a coach like Rex Ryan, I think Rex Ryan wanted to do it, and we saw how that worked out. It worked out well for Rex's media career, but not as good for his head coaching career.
It did, but just as far as...
And for his wife's OnlyFans feet account. Sounds like it worked out pretty well.
Big feet guy.
That's a feet guy. I don't...
Let's get some snacks.
Yeah.
I'll stop.
You don't have any more feet commentary?
I was going to say, it was going to go down a path, and it was, no. Kevin O'Connell deserves to be, J.J. McCarthy, HBO, and NFL Films. Don't screw the pooch on this one.
Yeah. We have, by the way, Declan alluded to this. We have on the Mackey and Judd, Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd podcast feed, Apple and Spotify, and the Score North YouTube channel, the return of Monday statements. So that'll be today, later on this morning, or in the afternoon. Maybe by the time you listen to this, statements is already up. We got some Viking stuff. So that'll be every Monday. And then, the next couple weeks, we are unveiling our fall lineup of Purple Daily shows. So you already saw Meat and Potatoes last week, deep dive, X's and O's, even draft discussions with Judd and Tyler Fornes. Before I Die, on your podcast feed later on today on this Monday with Jesse Pierce and Miles Gorham and Ross Brendel. Trenches with Boone is coming back again for, I think, a 4th season, starting it'll be likely the week after they play their first regular season game. Might be able to corral Booney for a preview episode.
Touch and go.
And then the main show, Vikings Vent Line, if you maybe just joined Purple Daily in this community after last year's season ended, Vikings Vent Line immediately after every Vikings game on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. It is the place to be. It is the Vikings post-game show. of note. So, yeah, we've got you guys covered. It's football season. The Vikings play an actual regular season game in less than 2 weeks. Inject it.
I'm ready for it.
Inject it.
Football.
I was driving home last night. I said only one more Sunday.
It's a vent
without
line, baby.
football.
Yes.
Open up the vent
One
lines.
more.
Daily Vikings entertainment here on Purple Daily. We just want the Vikes to win the Super Bowl before we die.